uh, discrete time Fourier series, that is some kind of a that has a relationship with discrete Fourier transform, which we will study separately in the course. Right now, I'm trying to talk about a particular transform which has a spectrum which is continuous, but it operates on discrete time signals. Okay. If you contrast this with continuous time Fourier transform, the continuous time Fourier transform spectrum is discrete. It is a line spectrum, but it operates on continuous time signals. So there is something very interesting about these Fourier transforms. So if you try to plot the spectrum and the input, then you will understand that each transform has its own peculiarity. So DTFT again will produce, like the formula will produce a spectrum which is continuous, but it operates on discrete signals. So the motivation for the Fourier transform, so if you look at Fourier series, it provides a representation for periodic signals, but most of the times we are dealing with discrete signals because we operate in a discrete domain, and we have DSP processors, we have computers which use discrete signals. So a more general tool than Fourier series is needed, and many times we have aperiodic signals. So we need something where we can handle aperiodic as well as discrete signals. So the Fourier transform originally was proposed, or the continuous time Fourier transform was used to propose, or was used for the aperiodic signals. Now, aperiodic signals, but continuous time. That is continuous time Fourier transform. So you have continuous time Fourier series, you have continuous time Fourier transform, Fourier series for periodic signals, Fourier transform for aperiodic signals, and now you have discrete time Fourier series and discrete time Fourier transform. So discrete time Fourier series I will come to before I cover discrete Fourier transform. That is a sampled version of DTFT.
Excuse me, sir.
So that, yes, please go ahead.
Sir, few people are waiting in the lobby.
Okay, let me check. No, I don't see anyone. Right now there is no one. 85 people are there. Only one person comes in. There are 86 people. Nobody else in the lobby. So you see, like, what was I saying? DTFT, right? So when we work with DTFT, we have a continuous spectrum. Sometimes we have to operate with a sampled spectrum. That is, we have to work with a spectrum which is sampled at periodic, or I would say like uniformly spaced samples. So how many samples we should have, and what happens if I sample the spectrum? All these things we will cover when I talk about DFT, or the discrete Fourier transform. So I don't know whether you have studied, the UG people have studied DFT. What about the BTECs? Have you been exposed to discrete Fourier transform? Have you been
So
taught?
the derivation of the formula.
No, formula means what here? अरे theory पढ़ाया कि नहीं पढ़ाया? In the signals and systems course, have they taught you the intricacies of discrete Fourier transform? Formula बताने से क्या होता है?
Sir, actually we did not have time before the mid-sem, so we derived the formula, and so that's all.
That is not the way to read. Okay. Yeah, I don't derive a formula and tell you something, right? One has to read the full chapter, and you have to have all kinds of connections with the previous chapters. So when I am showing you something, I do preparation and come, and then I show you something. It is not that like I just show you the formula and give you some problems and then हो गया. ऐसे ही अगर पढ़ना है तो आईआईटी में क्यों पढ़ना है यार? ऐसे तो यूनिवर्सिटी में लोग पढ़ते हैं. So Fourier transform is essentially derived from Fourier series by a limiting process. That means we say that the period of a signal is infinite, and then the Fourier transform becomes similar to Fourier series. So when you put that condition that t tends to infinity, then the signal becomes aperiodic, and then you can use the same Fourier series to handle that signal. So Fourier transform, or continuous time Fourier transform, and continuous time Fourier series, they have similarities. So we'll see like how all these transforms are related. So it is a very nice summary that we will have at the end of the course, that how all these transforms are related. The DSP course is designed to teach you transforms and how to work with filters, how to design filters, and it gives you idea about like the properties of signals and systems. So whatever you learn in signals and systems course, that is just a precursor. And if you don't do a DSP course, then your knowledge is half. In fact, it is 1/4, because you are missing out on so many chapters. I will show you the next chapter would be about phase delay, the importance of linear phase, what happens if you don't have linear phase. All these things are like very, very important for a filter designer or for an electrical engineer. If you are not exposed to these concepts, then really like you are incomplete. Your education is not complete. So the way we talk about like Fourier series, this representation has been around for a very long time. Fourier series was invented long time ago, and like people have been using Fourier series for analysis of continuous time signals since a very long time. So can we think of leaving Fourier series, or can we develop another like mathematical tool for handling aperiodic discrete time signals? That is the idea that we are going to propose in discrete time Fourier transform. Okay. So the sentence here is that somehow use Fourier series to develop a representation that can also be applied to aperiodic sequences. Because the mathematics of Fourier series has been well developed and it has been around for a very long time, people would be hesitant to abandon it just like that, just because a DSP chip came up in the market. So we would like to use the old mathematics, and how can I tweak the old mathematics so that I can use it for discrete signals which are aperiodic in nature. So first thing is, you can view an aperiodic sequence as the limiting case of an n-periodic sequence, where n tends to infinity, where n is the period of that signal, and let that n tend to infinity. So now you can use Fourier series to develop a more general signal representation that can be used for both aperiodic and periodic sequences. So this representation is called the DTFT, or the discrete time Fourier transform. So here comes the formula. Now again, caution on the notation. So I will show you another slide where the notation is little different, and just bear with me. Let me open up another slide. I'm just sharing the other slide. Can you see this one? Are you able to see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this notation you would be more familiar with. This is the notation that people use in Oppenheim and Schaefer and Oppenheim and Wilsky. This is the notation. So in other books also they use different notations. So we will use this notation also, and the other notation I will show you. So I'm just stopping this sharing. So let us continue with that notation in that slide, then we will come to this. So both are interchangeable. Okay. So here capital omega is used to denote frequency. So, and n goes from minus infinity to plus infinity. This is something important. This you should note, because there will be a difference from discrete Fourier transform, that is DFT, And DTFT is different from DFT. DFT has a sampled spectrum. Its spectrum is discrete, but DTFT has a continuous spectrum. Okay. So this summation is from equal to minus infinity to plus infinity xn e power minus j omega n. So this is the analysis equation or the forward Fourier transform equation. The inverse is given like this using the integral, because the spectrum x of capital omega is continuous. It is not discrete. So you have the integral there. Okay. Please make a note of these things. In the first formula, there is a summation because you are dealing with x of n, which is discrete. And in the second formula, there is an integration because you are dealing with x of omega, capital X of omega, which is a continuous quantity. The second equation is the synthesis equation. First equation is the analysis equation. So we have this DTFT like notation like this, xn to capital X omega. So this is called a Fourier transform pair. So all this you might have been aware. I'm just refreshing your memory and telling you some things that you may have missed. So convergence of the Fourier transform. So this one maybe you will not be a little aware. So there are many pitfalls when you deal with signals. Okay. First, let me ask you a question. Is everybody listening? There is about around 90 students in this class. So I'm just asking you a small question. Suppose I give you a signal which is different from another signal at some finite points. Okay. So let us say that I give you a signal which may be a sinusoid, and there is another signal. So there is a pure sinusoid. There is another signal which is a corrupted sinusoid, where the corruption is such that the sinusoid is disturbed at some finite points. So when you take the Fourier transform of both the signals, what do you expect? Or a Fourier series of both the signals, what do you expect to get? Will the answer be the same for both of them, or will the answer be different?
One will be discrete and one will be continuous.
No. You did not understand what I'm asking. Suppose I say that there is a series, there is a sinusoid, okay, or any signal for that matter. You can take a rect function, or you can take a triangular function, or you can take a sinusoid function, and you corrupt that function by some degradation. That means you disturb the signal at some finite points. Okay, you have a nice triangular function, so you disturb it at the negative slope and also at the positive slope at just 2-3 points. Okay, so it no longer is a pure triangle, it is slightly jagged. I'm not able to draw, so difficult to draw and show, but one is a pure triangle and the other one is a disturbed triangle. You can visualize the disturbance is only at finite points. Okay. So now when you take the Fourier transform or a Fourier series or whatever you want, some transform of these two signals, what do you expect to have? Do you expect to have identical answer? Both signals are different. Will the answer be identical or will they be different? That is the question.
Sir, will the signal remain periodic after distortion?
I am not caring about periodicity or anything. I mean, you can take a sawtooth waveform which is periodic from minus infinity to plus infinity. You can take a triangular waveform which is periodic from minus infinity to plus infinity. You have disturbed the signal at some finite points and taken a Fourier series. If it is periodic, if it is aperiodic, you have taken a Fourier transform. But in one case, the signal is disturbed. In the other case, signal is not disturbed. Don't ask me a question. Give me the answer. After taking the Fourier transform of the Fourier series, will the two answers be same or different? Has anybody talked about these things?
Will it be same, sir?
I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm telling, sir.
You're guessing. What is the reason? Don't guess. Has anybody told you this, or have you read about this anywhere in any textbook?
Sir, in Fourier transform, the noise, like noise is getting rejected, so it will be
No, it's
same.
not about noise. It's not about noise.
Sir, will
It's
be
not about
different.
noise. It's not about noise. It is something deeper. That is the problem, that you people only read notes.
Sir, will be
Textbook.
different, sir.
Answer is wrong. It will be identical. Why so? I'm giving you the question. I'm asking you to find the answer. Almost full attendance I am finding today. So nice that you people are coming to class. Because you are coming to class, let me respect the sanctity of the class and ask you something which will poke your curiosity, and you will be forced to search and find out. Okay, you have at least understood the question. Now there is a triangle. Okay, suppose it is aperiodic. It goes from some -2 seconds to +2 seconds. Okay, continue. It is a time signal. Maybe it is a continuous time signal. So because it is aperiodic, you have to take a continuous time Fourier transform. So signal is from -2 to +2. Nice, beautiful triangle. Okay. Now you corrupt that triangle. So on the negative slope, you add some value. So if it is going from -2 to say +5 in the y amplitude, so 0 to 5, it is going in the y amplitude. So you disturb at say -2.5. So you make that amplitude peak up. Okay. And in the other part of the signal, that is from +0 to say +2 seconds, you again disturb the signal. You add a little value, negative value. So it changes shape. Okay. And you have disturbed at only 2 points, 2 different points. You can disturb more points. Okay. But you have disturbed at discrete points. That is the catch. You have changed the signal at discrete points. And you have taken continuous time Fourier transform of the disturbed signal and the original signal, the original smooth triangle. What do you expect to have? The answer is you will get identical answer. Why? That is my question. See, there are things which are not easy, which are like this kind of mathematics has been developed since a very long time. A lot of people have been working in this area, and generally in the class, people don't talk about such things. But my job is to give you a little more than the class. Okay. Under all the problems that I face, I don't have a good laptop. You are asking me to use Microsoft Teams. If I use Microsoft Teams, then my laptop will crash. We use Google Meeting. Okay, we have disturbance. We have so much problem. But still, I am giving you something which no teacher has taught you till date. But they will ask you in the comprehensive Viva. Okay. Okay. They will ask you this question in comprehensive Viva. I will tell you the answer also. I teach this in my other course. You have a course in electrical engineering, na? Computational methods for or computational algorithms for signal and signal processing, mathematical methods and something like that. There's a huge title of that course. MTech people, you are here. All the postgraduate students, MTech first year. Anyone from MTech first year? Can you respond?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yeah. So all of you should be aware that there is a course called Mathematical Algorithms for Signal Processing. Are you aware of that elective?
No, sir.
No. So this is the problem. I asked you as an MTech advisor to look at that website, www.iitkgp.ac.in, and I showed you that link in the very first meeting that I had with all MTech students. So in that website, you can see that course. You can see that it is an elective in the electrical engineering department, and I don't think any other department in this institute is offering that elective. And that elective has a purpose. It goes beyond DSP and teaches things which people don't know. Okay, and I would say that those people who are interested to read further about signals and systems, who are not satisfied with whatever they have learned or how they have been taught in the course, okay, they can do that course. And as I said, like, life is a little bit more complex than what it seems. So I'm not trying to give you any preaching or anything, but this slide will show you that there is something more to Fourier transform. So for a sequence X, the Fourier transform analysis equation, that is this particular equation, converges uniformly if this condition is satisfied. That is absolutely summable. What do you mean by converges uniformly? What is uniform convergence? Okay. And for a sequence X, the Fourier transform analysis equation, this equation converges in the mean squared error sense if this X is square summable. So now tell me Dirichlet conditions. Have you studied Dirichlet conditions?
Yes, sir.
Anyone? So which one among these two formula is there in Dirichlet condition?
First one, sir.
First one, sure. Anybody else, Baba? I can also forget, okay. I'm not making fun. I'm just saying that. Just let us get some other opinion, okay. Let other students also respond. First one or second one? What do you?
First one, sir.
First one, second person also said first one. How many of you feel that second equation is there in the Dirichlet condition? Anyone? Let me hear from the ladies. I don't hear those voices. Anybody? Any lady, can you please respond to me? How many girls we have in the class? Generally, you people are very silent. So, like, if you have forgotten, like, you can take a look at Dirichlet conditions and come back. So, we can discuss about this more in detail. I can give you some time and we can talk about it. But this is something that we have to worry about whenever we think about using our transforms. And so, what is the idea of mean square convergence? What is the idea of uniform convergence of functions? So if you see in Fourier series, you are taking x of t and you are splitting it as an infinite series, right? You have summation k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity c k e to the power j k omega naught t, correct? Omega naught is equal to 2 pi by capital T, where t is the time period of the periodic signal, x of t. Am I correct? Whatever I said? Yeah, please respond.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So that is an infinite time series. Suppose I truncate it, what happens? Suppose I truncate it. I truncate the right hand side of the Fourier series. I don't use infinite terms. I use only finite terms. What happens? Yes, someone please respond.
So
Don't be
there would
scared. You
some-
can give me a wrong answer. Tell me.
So there would be some error because some terms
There will be
we have
some error. Very good. There will be an error. And if you look at Fourier series theory, it says that design those type of Fourier series coefficients such that the error is minimized, right? Have you studied this in any textbook? You have seen it somewhere, right? Have you not?
Yes, sir.
So you have to build a formula for the coefficients, Fourier series coefficients, such that the error is minimized. And that error that you minimize is what error? Is it absolute error?
So we minimize square error.
Squared error. So have you questioned that teacher who taught you Fourier series? Why do we do squared error? Why are we minimizing squared error? Anytime it occurred to you that you should ask this question? So we should be worried about each of these things, because now you are like, you are in final year and you are going maybe for maybe you are going for a PhD or an MS program, something like you are doing. You are going to do something beyond your BTech. So we have to be worried about these small things. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So why do we do squared error? What is uniform convergence of functions? What is point-wise convergence of functions? So these will start to matter. So the question that I had asked you is related to these two ideas: point-wise convergence of functions and uniform convergence of functions. And that the idea that you are using squared error causes problems, and the problem that it causes is the question that I had asked. Okay, so I think I've just touched upon the answer of the question that I've asked. So because you minimize the squared error, you are doing one kind of convergence analysis, and therefore you are going to have the same answer for the Fourier transform or Fourier series of a signal which is different from another signal at finite places. Okay, remember the word finite. So generally, I teach these ideas whenever I take the course on mathematical algorithms for signal processing. So there in those courses, we have the time to talk about such things. So here I'm just giving you a small hint that there is something beyond, like in the Dirichlet conditions and in that squared error, something is hidden. That hidden thing is the question that I had asked. Okay, so let me go to the next slide. So these are the formulas which you have come across. So the properties of the discrete time Fourier transform. The discrete time Fourier transform is a linear operation. It is what I say when I teach digital image processing. We do discrete Fourier transform by using what is called a matrix operation, and that matrix that we use is called the DFT matrix. So have you come across that DFT matrix, anyone? UG students, do you know about that DFT matrix? What are the entries in that DFT matrix? You have been taught the formula, na? Suppose you have a n point DFT, capital N point DFT. So how will you take a capital N point DFT of a one-dimensional n cross 1 signal, n cross 1 vector? What will you do? Suppose you have a vector x, which is a column vector containing n samples, capital N samples. How will you take an n point DFT of that? Have you come across the DFT matrix? Anyone? MTech people? Have you heard about DFT matrix?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So MTech students, they know, but like UG, maybe they have not been taught. So generally we use a matrix, and multiply it with that vector x to get another vector y, which is the DFT of that vector x. So vector y is in the transform domain, it's in the frequency domain, whereas x is in the time domain. So when I multiply the matrix A or some matrix D with x, I get y. So because this is a matrix multiplication, so our Fourier transform is a linear operation, and because it is a linear operation, the first condition is satisfied. So you see linearity. Then you have the translation condition. The translation condition manifests itself in terms of linear phase. We will come to read about linear phase. We'll see what is that, why this formula is so nice. So the second formula, translation, modulation. So when you do modulation of signals, that is, you are mounting a signal, a baseband signal on a carrier signal, then what is the operation that you are performing? You are doing a multiplication operation, or you are taking a product of two signals. So when you do a product of two signals, then what happens? That is called modulation. Time reversal, conjugation, downsampling, upsampling, and the most important formula is the convolution formula, where convolution in the time domain is equivalent to product of the Fourier transforms. So that is the main reason why we use FFT. The reason to use fast Fourier transforms is to do convolution. Okay, because if you want to convolve two signals in the time domain, it is computationally very complex. That formula, h of k into x of n minus k summation k goes from minus infinity to plus infinity, is a computationally costly formula. So we have a shortcut or a fast algorithm which is available in the frequency domain, that is the fast Fourier transform, and therefore we can do convolution of signals in a fast way. Multiplication formula in the time domain, multiplication is equivalent to convolution in the frequency domain. Frequency domain differentiation and accumulator formula. If you have an accumulator, then if you take the Fourier transform of that, then what happens? So these are the properties of the discrete time Fourier transform. And the most important idea here is that this spectrum that you get, that is a continuous time spectrum, it is again a periodic spectrum. Okay. Although you have taken the Fourier transform of a discrete sequence, which is aperiodic. You are doing a discrete time Fourier transform. So you are doing a Fourier transform. That is, your signal is aperiodic, and you are doing a discrete time Fourier transform. That is, your signal is a sequence. It is not a continuous function. So it is a discrete aperiodic sequence, and you have a continuous spectrum as the output of the DTFT. The spectrum is supposed to be periodic. That is the first property here. And then we have a nice relationship which is called the Parseval's relationship. This has very nice interpretations. So if you see, shall I do it slowly? Like, do you want me to do it slowly? Is it going too fast? Like, I have the slides, individual slides. Do you want me to do it slowly? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So
Otherwise,
one
it is
doubt I
like,
had.
yeah. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
What is the difference between Fourier transform?
Sorry, I couldn't hear that. Can you please say that again?
So what is the difference between Fourier transform and fast Fourier transform?
We'll come to that, but let me answer that question a little bit. Fast Fourier transform is a fast algorithm to solve or to take the DFT of a signal. Okay? Fast Fourier transform is not a transform. It is a fast algorithm to compute discrete Fourier transform. That is the answer. Okay? Now, what is the difference between fast Fourier transform and DTFT? Now, fast Fourier transform is related to DFT. DFT is related to DTFT. What is the relation between DFT and DTFT? We will cover when I do DFT lecture. Okay. Just to give you a hint, DTFT spectrum is continuous. DFT spectrum is not continuous. It is discrete. Okay. So those of you who are familiar with the formula of DFT, what does the formula say? Summation k equal to 0 to n minus 1. If you are taking a n point DFT, capital N point DFT. So summation k equal to 0 to capital N minus 1, x of n e to the power minus j 2 pi what? K into small n divided by capital N. That is the formula. So the left hand side is equal to x of k, where x is capital X of k. K goes from 0 to capital N minus 1. Correct? All of you are able to
Yes,
follow?
sir.
This is the problem with online class, Baba. I have to speak. If I try to use a whiteboard, I need a pen. I need a stylus. Who will give me the money to buy stylus? all, all of you people think that IIT is so rich, all the faculty are so rich, they have everything at their disposal. अरे भाई हमारे पास एक we have only have a chalk piece and a blackboard. We are teachers. We are not industrialists. Okay, we have some salary and we spend that salary on our families. So we don't have Jing Bang laptops with 16 GB RAM and GPUs and all that stuff. And this is COVID time. I'm sitting in my home. Okay, if I'm able to take a class, that's a big thing. It is not so easy for us to take a class in COVID times. Okay, you may be not aware that there is a huge tragedy of students. 5 PhD students of IIT have passed away due to COVID. And one of the PhD students was my first PhD student who has passed away because of COVID. It is an absolute tragedy, this COVID. Whatever we are able to do, today I saw a mail in the morning from Goran. So I thought I will tell you these things, that Baba, you people are sitting at home, you are safe, you are happy. We are in campus and we have to travel inside the campus, sometimes to office, okay, and we are exposed and our students are exposed. We have to take protection and there is no facility given to us. I don't have a tablet with a stylus. I don't have money to buy that. Okay, no authority gives me any funds to get those things, but they expect me to take classes and the class has to be at a particular standard. So let me tell you all that, because some people think that we have great resources and we can do MS Teams and this and that and Jing and Bang and all that. Baba, MS Teams requires a laptop which has at least 8 GB RAM plus. It hangs my laptop if I use MS Teams. Google Meeting is the most efficient and easy way to do the class. Okay. Last time I used to write on a piece of paper and show it to the camera. I have written equations on piece of paper and shown it to the camera, and people have written down notes. We did all those things last semester. I was teaching statistical signal processing. So we take so much pain for the students. This time at least I have slides. Last time the course was such that I can't teach in slides. I have to derive. Okay. So if I cannot teach in slides, then how do I do this? Shall I go to Nalanda and teach and get exposed to the virus? Last semester there was no vaccine. Okay. So all of you should understand under what circumstances we are taking classes. So if you are thinking that everything is tailor-made for us and we are just getting the thali in front of us, तो भाई हमारे पास कोई थाली नहीं है, हम उसको परोस नहीं सकते हैं आपको. हमें जितना आता है ना हम बोर्ड पे बता सकते हैं. I can derive, I can write, but all those facilities are not there. Okay, so we are limited and still we are performing. We are still performing at that level and beyond. Okay, so give us a little bit of credit if you feel that we should get a little bit of credit. And don't think that it is a light matter. My first student has passed away due to COVID. It is not a joke. His father and mother are just poor parents. He is their sole breadwinner. Okay, and he just passed away. So you can imagine what is COVID doing to our society. So if we are doing education under these circumstances, it is a great boon. So let us be happy about it. Microsoft Teams has various issues. I need to add all of you one by one. I need to add your email IDs, right? Am I correct? I need to open that and open a channel. Then I need to add your email IDs one by one. That means how much time I should spend? 100 email IDs I have to add one by one. Is it not? Am I correct? Is there a shortcut? Tell me.
So
Then I will also try.
you can copy paste all the emails.
अरे बाबा कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं चलता है, मैंने ट्राई किया था. I have to take one by one each email ID and do it. Microsoft ने ऐसा हंगामा सॉफ्टवेयर बनाया, कॉपी पेस्ट नहीं चलता है.
Sir, you can share the class code and everyone will join on their own.
Okay, that I can do. That also I can do. But I only have one laptop which supports Microsoft Teams. Okay. Other laptops don't support. Right now, whatever laptop I'm using, it doesn't support MS Teams. So we have to do with our resources. Whatever resources I have, under that I try to perform optimum. Okay. Just because you people have been habituated to MS Teams, you want to stick to that. Okay. So I don't have a problem. I can send you an MS Teams link, but I will be restricted to using that laptop. So every night I have to charge that laptop and keep it. And if I have a 2-hour class, again I am in trouble. Things are not so easy, and I have to think 2 times before I do something. And the easiest option for me is this Google Meeting. And okay, fine, I have to take some students who come late. Okay, that is okay. That much we will bear. So you must understand that we are also human beings. We perform under constraints. Nothing is ideal. So let us go back to our subject. So I was saying that a capital X of k is equal to summation n equal to capital 0 to n minus 1 x of n e power minus j 2 pi kn by capital N. Now that spectrum is supposed to be a discrete spectrum as compared to this continuous time spectrum of DTFT. Discrete at n points. So we have to sample at n points. So that is the difference between DFT and DTFT. And DFT and FFT, DFT is the same as FFT, or FFT is the same as DFT, only it is a fast algorithm to compute DFT. It is not a new transform. So these are the confusions that students have generally, and whenever we ask in the Vivas, they fail to give us a correct answer. So I am giving you all the answers before your comprehensive Viva. At least I expect that this batch will tell me that fast Fourier transform is not a new transform. Okay? Any other questions? If you have any other questions, you can ask me. Okay, so let us continue. So periodicity property of Fourier DTFT. So a capital X of omega is periodic. It is a continuous time spectrum and periodic in 2 pi. So we can prove this. So we can write X of omega plus 2 pi k, and we can put it in the formula and then derive it out. It turns out to be again the same thing, that is equal to X of omega. So the Fourier transform capital X of the sequence small x is always 2 pi periodic. Okay, is this clear?
Yes.
Now this is the linearity property. So why was I talking about the DFT matrix? Because the matrix multiplication is a linear operation. So you can compute the Fourier transform by using a matrix multiplication if you have discrete case, but if here you have a continuous time case, so you are a continuous case, so therefore you have continuous spectra. Therefore we use integrals, and we can say that this property holds, that linearity property will hold of the Fourier transform. Fourier transform is a linear operation. That summation that you see is a linear operation. Therefore, here we have this property. At summation of n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of n e power minus j omega n, summation is a linear operation. That is why linearity. Translation. This is something important. So when you have signals which are shifted with respect to each other, then what happens? So if you take the Fourier transform of a signal which is shifted to by some distance, by maybe n naught which is positive and n naught which is negative, then either shifted to the right or shifted to the left, then you have an extra term in that spectrum. The only extra term that happens is the phase. That phase gets distorted, or there is an extra phase term which comes and adds to the original phase spectrum of the unshifted signal. So you will have e power minus j omega into n naught into x of capital omega, where this term e power minus j omega n naught is the extra phase term. The amplitude spectrum is not disturbed. This is something that you should know, that whenever you deal with a shifted version of the original signal, the amplitude spectrum is not disturbed, only the phase spectrum is disturbed. So when we work with filters, what happens? We'll come to that. When I talk about linear phase property of a filter, we'll see that concept there. So this is called the translation or time domain shifting property of the Fourier transform. Then another important property of Fourier transform, because of which you are able to do modulation. So because of this property only, we have the idea of modulation of signals. So in modulation, we are taking a product of two signals. One can be a baseband signal, one can be a high frequency carrier signal. So here you see, you are taking a complex sinusoid e power j omega naught n into x of n. Okay, so this complex sinusoid can be a carrier signal, and omega naught can be a high frequency. So when you multiply this carrier signal with baseband signal, which is x of n, you are actually shifting the spectrum of the baseband signal. That is, capital X of omega is shifted to capital X of omega minus omega naught. That is the basic crux of modulation. All analog modulation happens because of this Fourier transform property. Okay. So all radio signals or radio modulation, all analog modulation is built on the foundation of this Fourier transform property only. That is why you are taking a carrier and multiplying with a baseband. Who asked you to do that? Have you ever wondered why a carrier is multiplied with a baseband? Anyone? Modulation textbook starts with take the carrier and multiply it with the baseband. Why? Because of this property.
The frequency spectrum.
This is the reason. This is the reason. Yes, this is the reason. So the frequency spectrum gets shifted to omega naught, where omega naught is the high frequency of the carrier. Okay? That is the reason. That is why you can mount a baseband signal on a carrier. Okay. So this idea is also there in analog multiplexing. So when you have multiplexers, analog multiplexers, then you can use this idea. Time reversal. So this is simple, straightforward property of time reversal. Conjugation. So we have the idea of real signals, Fourier transform of real signals. So there, this property comes handy. So we have something called conjugate symmetry. I think all of you are aware of that, and you are also aware of the fact that for a real signal, when you take the Fourier transform or a Fourier series, then what happens? What is the nature of the amplitude spectrum? What is the nature of the phase spectrum? Maybe I will have a couple of slides so we can see that. So, but I think all of you have studied that. For real signals, what is the property of the conjugate symmetry? So how do we use that? So this is one of the ideas. So this is the conjugation property of the Fourier transform. Downsampling operation. So when you do downsampling in the time domain, you have this kind of, again, you can say that it is the spectrum is also getting what? Dilated. It is divided by capital M. You see here. Omega minus 2 pi k divided by capital M. So downsampling by M factor is causing a dilation in the spectrum. So I will not talk too much about this downsampling or interpolation. Just to say that these are inverse operations. When you interpolate a signal, that means you introduce more samples in a time domain signal. You are doing the inverse operation in the frequency domain. That means you are dropping the spectrum. So you are having a compression of the spectrum. So you are losing the bandwidth in the frequency domain. If you increase the number of samples in the time domain, you are losing bandwidth. You are compressing the spectrum in the inverse, so in the frequency domain. So these are inverse operations. So decimation in the or downsampling in the time domain will lead to expansion of the bandwidth. That was the previous formula, and so this previous formula was expansion of the bandwidth. And if you introduce more samples inside the time domain signal, it will cause compression of the bandwidth. This is the idea of upsampling and downsampling. I think it's almost 11 o'clock. I'll just stop with this slide. So this is the convolution slide. So if you have the Fourier transform of the individual signals x1 of n as capital X1 omega and x2 of n as capital X2 of omega, then x1 convolved with x2 gives x1 omega into x2 omega. So that is this important property of convolution. That is the crux for why we use fast Fourier transform. We don't do convolution in the time domain because it is an expensive operation. Convolution is an expensive operation, whereas multiplication is just a straightforward operation, and this can be done fast. You can compute the Fourier transform x1 omega in a very fast way using fast Fourier transforms. So with this slide, I will stop today, and next class we will cover some examples from discrete time Fourier transform. So we will work out some small examples. Okay, thank you.